Hi everyone, it's Dr. Campbell with another Dissecting an ICD-10 PCS Operative report. So our patient today has dysfunctional uterine bleeding. That's the pre-op and post-op diagnoses. And the procedures that are noted are fractional dilation and curettage, and then choice balloon endometrial ablation. As you know, I'm going to remind you it's critical that you review every report and first start off by understanding what happened today. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and then why something happened. And then from there, guys, as you're reading through the procedure, it should be pretty clear what the patient is having done today. So as we discussed previously, just because there are two procedures noted at the top in the header of the report, you have to determine if distinct objectives were being accomplished. Again, I want to refer you to the multiple procedure coding guidelines. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, make sure you listen to my ICD-10 PCS guidelines review session. All right, in this particular case, the patient was taken to the OR, and under adequate general anesthesia, she was prepped and draped in the sterile fashion. There, the uterus was sounded to approximately 9 to 10 centimeters. Using Pratt cervical dilators, the cervix was dilated to the point that a Sims sharp curette could be inserted. The Sims sharp curette was passed to obtain endometrial curetting. After the curetting was obtained, the choice system was assembled and primed. So guys, right now what you have is a DNC, and in the PCS world, that's coded to the root operation of extraction. If you research the DNC procedure, you'll understand why this is an extraction. So the catheter with the balloon was placed inside the endometrial cavity and slowly filled with fluid until it stabilized at a pressure of approximately 175 to 180 mmHg. The system was then preheated, and after preheating to 87 degrees Celsius, 8 minutes of therapeutic heat was applied to the lining of the endometrium. The fluid was allowed to drain from the balloon. The system was removed. The procedure was then discontinued. All sponge, instrument, and needle counts were correct. The patient tolerated the procedure well and was taken to the recovery room. All right, so where do we begin? Well, yes, we do have two distinct objectives, so I'm going to write them down for you. So first, we talked about the extraction, right? That was the DNC. And then notice the second thing that happened was this choice system, which was done to ablate This is why it's important to look up the terms before you start coding. So they did the ablation of the endometrium, and so that's coded to the root operation of destruction. So this is where we begin, and you have to, again, pull out key aspects of the record. Extraction of what? Well, what have they been talking about? The endometrium. All right. And what area was destroyed? It was also the endometrium. Guys, again, to support why we can code both of these, go back to your multiple procedure guidelines. So I'm going to go in the index, and what I'm going to do is actually grab both tables, one for the destruction and one for the extraction. And I'm doing this to save myself some time. So I'm in the index, and I'm starting with destruction. Remember, first gray line, second gray line, So after the main term, you go to the first gray line. And here, we're looking for endometrium. So this first column, all about the letter A. Second column, notice this is artery. And then actually the third column, notice this is bone. So it's still destruction, but you got to figure out where is my endometrium. So now here on this page, notice I got femur. So that lets me know I'm getting close. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And look what we have here. Endometrium, table 0U5. So that was the destruction, right? So I'm going to write off to the side, table 0UB. And the index gave us a body part value of B. And actually, I wrote that wrong. So 0U5B, okay? So 0U5B. And then I'm going to look up my second procedure, which is the extraction. Okay, extraction is here. What body part? So we're back to that again. Well, we wrote down earlier that the body part was the endometrium, which is 0UD. 0UD. Now notice two distinct objectives. 0UD is the extraction. 0U5 is the extraction. And the index did for table 0UD did get me a body part value of B. Guys, look at the similarities. Different root operations, distinct objectives. They're both endometrium, different objectives. All right, so first I'm going to go to table 0UD. I'm getting close. Okay. So table 0UD, okay, body part value of B for endometrium. So then the question that we have to answer is, well, how did they get into the area? Was it via natural or artificial opening, or was there an endoscope involved? Okay, so if you look at the documentation, they went in via the natural opening, right? They didn't do any type of incision. They actually went inside the area via the natural opening. All right, so 0UD B 7ZZ. Let's write that down. 0. Letter I and O is not used in PCS. 0UD B 7ZZ. And that's for the extraction. Okay, and so now we just have to code the destruction. And so the destruction told us to go to table 0U5. So we're not that far away. Remember, you got to get through the alphabets before you get to the numbers. Okay, and that's a B. So 0U5. Guys, I'm getting close. So let me show you something. The very beginning of the female reproductive system is 0U1. So it starts off with the numbers, and it can be, 1 through 9, and then it goes into the letters. All right. So table 0U5. Oh, guys, here's a perfect example. This is not for us, but notice this says this table was continued, so that lets you know you're not at the very beginning of that table. All right, so 0U5, and we know the body part was the endometrium, right? Because we actually, we saw that, right? Okay, so that body part value is a B. Let's make sure you guys can see that. So B for endometrium. Remember the rule, you build your codes going across, so you have to stay across. We know that this was done via a natural opening, which is number 7, no device, no qualifier. So your final code for this one is 0U5B7ZZ. All right, guys. And guys, that was another Dissecting an Operative Report session. I'll see you real soon, guys.